Hey, welcome back to a new video. This one's going to be on entry criteria, and I wanted to briefly go over today's price action from the replay. We can see how we had this entry marked out earlier, and we got that nice reaction from it. We would have been out of the trade, and then we have this area that we've marked out that we would have had that nice reaction from, and then I believe, no, not from there, not from the body, but just from this wick, you could have had that entry and targeted this imbalance here, which you would have also had the sell from right there. Okay, so from here to here, you would have had that sell, which you would have that quick in and out entry. From here to wherever, you would have decided to take profits based on your levels. I would have just taken it at the inefficiency or the equal lows down here, which would have actually been a way better ideal target. Okay, and then we had the buy entry here, right? So you would have had your quick reaction from there. And that's how you scalp these ranges, right? So all throughout this, we would have been scalping all that range. And we have this in the replay, one of the replay videos at the last one, since I wanted to do an entry criteria video on how to enter the markets. Okay, so let's go over how we enter markets. Okay, so let's go over the first type of entry, which is the bullish entry, which is just this. Okay, entry here. Okay, oops. So entry one would just be this. Okay, we break the high and we return here to continue higher. Okay, entry two would be trendline liquidity like this, and then higher. Okay, so just look at these patterns, right? And look at how we have, we want this like very compressive nature to this. Okay, so where we do this sort of thing, okay, and then we take the entry here, right? So wiping out this trend line into liquidity zone down here. Okay, so first entry settings are like this. Okay, second entry settings are like this. Okay, and then our third entry criteria will be like this. Okay, wiping out the liquidity above. Okay, this is a very high probability setup. This one would be last on the list is high probability, and this would be second. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, right? And this one is the one that I love looking for. When you see a setup like this, you can go in early. You can hold the position a little bit longer for this high. These are my favorite type of setups, okay? And then obviously vice versa for bearishness, okay? So just study this and that will get you your entries, okay? Now, as far as, oops. Why am I messing this up? As far as entries not to take, right? Like an entry not to take would be like this. And I'll give you a second to understand why you wouldn't take this, right? From here. Well, the first reason, and if you said equal highs, you're correct. We wouldn't want to take a short position from here, right? From this area, right? We wouldn't want to take that short position from up here. And as far as a buy, we would want to, the opposite of this. Sorry, I don't know why I drew that box down there. From a buy, we wouldn't want to take an entry like this, right? Where it would return back to here. Even though we broke structure, this isn't going to be a high probability setup because we have equal lows down here. It could easily run this out into a POI below like that, okay? And stop hunt all this, even though this caused the break of structure. Okay, so that isn't a high probability setup, and that's not something that we need to be looking for. Okay, another one that you don't want to be looking for is like this. We don't want to be taking this break of structure on this short because it can easily run you out here like that with this trendline liquidity. We always have to be mindful of the liquidity that's being built, okay? The other entry that I love is the doji block, right? And there was an example from the previous day. I didn't trade this day because I was building out this course. But doji blocks are very powerful, and it's just a doji with an engulfing candle next to it, okay? So from, I believe it's here. And this was an entry I did in fact take. Where is it? Is this previous day? I think this is previous day. Actually, I believe it was on US 30, sorry. So that's the day I didn't trade, and this is the day that I did trade. Okay, so here I took this entry here, right? And we had a massive rally to the upside. I was targeting this high here because of this trendline liquidity, right? Like that. So I took profits at this high, and we can see this doji. Now, I was very confident in this trade with the doji block, huge imbalance. This was the low of the session here, and I was aiming to put the retracement, right? So, right. So we have that 7-9 retracement level hit perfectly, right, into our doji block with trendline liquidity above, and then we catch the massive rally. Okay, so that is very powerful when you see a doji block, and I believe we had one today, either on NAS or something else. And if we look at this closely, like we can see that there's trendline liquidity being built here, right? And we can enter off this inside here if we come there. If not, we can enter here as well to run out these highs into inefficiency here to short, okay? But there was a doji block somewhere today. I believe it was on NAS. Yeah, so on NAS we had a nice doji right here, and we get that nice little reaction from it right there, okay? And that's basically my entry criteria. Very simple, very easy to understand. Make sure you study this video over and over so that you can identify these. Once you train your eyes well enough, it'll be like a no-brainer. You'll see all the liquidity points and where to get in, where to get out. All right.